I'm Joe Bob Briggs, and tonight we've got the smash hit of 1988, Beetlejuice, with Michael Keaton as the moss-faced ghoul enlisted by dead people Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin to stop a couple of yuppies from redecorating their house. And since we're doing the supernatural thing, it's time once again for the Joe Bob Briggs horoscope. Aries. Today, someone at your office will say, "Where'd you get that hickey on your lip?" There's an excellent chance that you will die soon. Taurus. You've been evasive lately and people are noticing. Enter the Federal Witness Protection Program. Gemini, your attention centers on a person of the opposite sex. Look for some excitement and changes in your life. You are probably a homosexual. Cancer, all of those money problems will be solved soon. If you feel nauseous any day this week, you have cancer. Leo, don't be surprised if you feel like you woke up in a sitcom. WB is about to offer a contract. Virgo, on the inside you feel like Jell-O. On the outside, you look like Jell-O, so go to the health spa for a facial and body wrap. Libra, lunar aspects highlight sensuality, travel, a stranger with a mole on his or her inner thigh, and a non-alcoholic pina colada. Your friends will start saying things behind your back, and you'll have to be a jerk about it. Scorpio, time for a fresh start and a new look. Refuse to bathe today and dye your hair a pastel color. A former teacher will come back into your life and laugh at your britches. Sagittarius, you must get to the heart of the matter today. Pay attention to anyone who has a Japanese name, especially if they seem real stupid. And at the office, no one will be watching that petty cash fund. Capricorn, good day to humiliate anyone named Jennifer or Stuart. Otherwise, plant yourself on the couch for a day and imitate a garden vegetable. Aquarius, you have lost the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes. Nya, nya, nya. Good day to cancel the magazine subscriptions that didn't do you a damn bit of good. Pisces, moon in your sign corresponds to a deep secret about that thing that you did as a kid. Everybody is going to find out. You can't avoid it. The whole world is going to know. You'll be devastated. Good day to start a hobby. Okay, let's start Beetlejuice now, and I'll do the drive-in totals at the first break. Roll it. So far, none of the papers buy my horoscopes. I don't know why. Well, it's geeky, isn't it? It's a geek movie, and we love geek movies here at Monstervision. Did you know that all these amazingly huge superstars like Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis and Winona Ryder and Michael Keaton, who we haven't even seen yet in this movie, weren't superstars at all? Alec Baldwin was relatively unknown at this point. Gina Davis was best known for The Fly. Michael Keaton was just starting to break through after Night Shift and Mr. Mom. And Winona Ryder hadn't even started high school yet in San Francisco. And the only thing Tim Burton had directed before this was Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which, of course, we've shown here on this show. No Batman, no Edward Scissorhands, no Nightmare Before Christmas, just Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Okay, let's do the drive-in totals like I promised. We have 34 dead bodies, 1 motor vehicle crash, flaming fingertips, face removing, head rolls, teeth roll, giant sand snake, dancing around the dinner table possessed by Harry Belafonte, face stretching, bug eating, stair rolling, attacked by ugly sculptures, head shrinking, gratuitous Robert Goulet, gratuitous Dick Cavett. 4 stars, let's go. You know, I always get a lot of flack when I complain about Pee-wee's Big Adventure, though. I don't know why. Gina Davis claims to have seen that movie 20 times. Have you guys seen any movie 20 times? I can't think of any movie I've watched 20 times. Well, Behind the Green Door, that's the only one. Insatiable 2. But, you know, those don't really count.
More in a moment with Joe Bob's Monstervision and Beetlejuice after these messages.
All right, you know who Winona Ryder represents in this flick? She's the alter ego of Tim Burton. Wearing black is kind of Tim's trademark. He's got the black hair, and he was quite the morbid little kid. I think what might have kicked it off was that when he was growing up, he had these 2 windows in his room, nice windows that looked out on the lawn of his suburban Burbank home. And for some reason, his parents walled him up and gave him this little slit window. And he had to climb up on his desk to see out of it. So he felt like he was in that Edgar Allan Poe story where the guy's walled in and buried alive, you know? That's what he claims anyway. He tells this story. I'd like to talk to his parents, though, to see what was really going on there. Okay, commercials, and then back to Beetlejuice. One time in junior high, he had to do this 20-page book report. That was the assignment. But instead, he made a Super 8 movie called Houdini, where he filmed himself escaping from railroad tracks and being dumped in a pool and escaping again, all these stupid film tricks. And he didn't read any book. It was just him jumping around in his backyard, and he got an A on it. And then in high school, he did one for psychology class where he took pictures from books and he played them to Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare. And he ended it by shooting his beanbag chair in stop motion. The beanbag chair was attacking him in his sleep. He got another A. But you know what? If I was his teacher, I'd give him an A too, because, you know, that boy's just not right, you know? Can't you hear him talking about, you know, give him an A because I don't want any trouble later.
More in a moment with Joe Bob's Monstervision and Beetlejuice after these messages.
You guys recognize Jeffrey Jones as Charles Dietz, right? Best known for trying to bust Matthew Broderick for 2 hours in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And on the phone, of course, the great Robert Goulet, best known for dreaming the impossible dream. To dream the impossible. I always liked the Jim Nabors version of that song. Anyway, I love that waiting room scene with all the dead people. Very inspired scene. And now you're going to start noticing this. The story gets a little incoherent as this baby goes on. I've said before that story has never been one of Tim Burton's strong suits. But he claims to have purposely picked this script, which was written by Michael McDowell, because it had no story. It was anti-Hollywood formula. It was like a stream of consciousness kind of thing. So when David Geffen offered to let him direct it, he jumped on it. And Geffen wanted Michael Keaton to play Beetlejuice right from the start, but Keaton turned it down because he just didn't like the part. So then Burton told Keaton that he wanted to change the tone of it and just let him come up with his own shtick. And so Michael Keaton starts walking around his house, coming up with the voice and the hair, and smash cut to Pauline Kael of The New Yorker calling it a comedy classic. And on that note, let's get the ads out of the way and get back to the flick. Michael Keaton is not his real name, by the way. His real name is Michael Douglas. So he had to change it when he joined the Screen Actors Guild. He saw this nice picture of Diane Keaton that day, so he temporarily picked Keaton, and it stuck. Ironically, Diane Keaton isn't her real name either. Her real name is Tom Cruise. So, little known fact.
More in a moment with Joe Bob's Monstervision and Beetlejuice after these messages.
Finally, some decent screen time for Michael Keaton. Tim Burton originally wanted to cast Sammy Davis Jr. as Beetlejuice, but the studio said, no way, Jose. I can definitely see Sammy in the role, though. Can't you? They found a spot for Bob Goulet in the movie. Come on. And speaking of perfect casting, the best male girl in Hollywood is here to assist me with Joe Bob's advice to the hopeless, the famous Rusty.
You know who I like in this movie is Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah, she's pretty hot for a comedian.
I meant I like her performance.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, that also. Whatever. What do you got for me?
Oh, well, I have an email. It's from David Livingston of Mansfield, Ohio. Well, actually, he sent it to TNT, but they forwarded it to you.
This is not the email. This is the script. This is the email. In this day of computer technology, the term artificial intelligence has become the norm. Everything in the computer world is based on artificial intelligence. This allows one to arrive at the question, where did you find a host for Monstervision with less mental capacity than a Commodore 64? You distracted me so I would read this, right? You have a really good program going, then Joe Bob's memory chip shorts out. Go figure. I'm sure that you could upgrade the quality if you just add a pollock and a couple of blonde chips to your system. What is a pollock? What is that, some kind of fish? Like a haddock?
He means, you know, that slur for the Polish people.
Oh, no, I can't believe I'm being insulted by somebody who doesn't know how to spell Polak.
Well, how do you spell it?
P-O-L-A-K. Polak. Or something. Well, never mind that. All right. Thanks for the opportunity to assist you in the upgrade of your system. Dave Livingston, Mansfield, Ohio. Okay, well, it's all in the hard drive, Dave. It's all in the hard drive until it goes floppy, of course. All right, let's give out those addresses for whoever else wants to slam me with misspelled ethnic slurs. You can write to me, care of TNT, 1010 Techwood Drive, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318, or email me directly at joebob@turner.com.
Or you can reach us through the website at tnt.turner.com/Joe Bob.
Yes, that's right. So how come you never get these insulting letters that you so happily bring to me at all times on this show?
Because I'm a nice person.
Honey, sometimes I just don't think that's it.
More in a moment with Joe Bob's Monstervision and Beetlejuice after these messages.
The great Sylvia Sidney as the old lady Juno in the underworld, a great leading lady. In what, the 30s she was a leading lady? Anyway, there's nothing like a demonic calypso production number to get my leg a-twitching. And took them 5 days to shoot that scene, not counting choreographing the thing during rehearsals. And to put it in perspective for you, Michael Keaton only worked 2 weeks during the entire production, 2 action-packed weeks. We haven't talked about Winona Ryder yet. And what the heck, let's use her real name, Little Nani Horowitz. The little isn't really a part of it, but actually she's a big producer now with Girl Interrupted. She produced that. You guys know that Little Nani actually checked herself into a mental institution once. Turns out she was having insomnia, and she thought she was going to lose it when they started construction on the building next door. So she called her doctor, and she got 3 very good nights' sleep in a plain white room with the bed chained to the wall. So no lobotomies or shock therapies for Nani. Hate to let you down. Okay, commercials, and then back to Beetlejuice. Why is it called Beetlejuice or Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse or whatever? You know, it's spelled B-E-T-E-L. But it's a star, right? It's the right shoulder in the Orion constellation, I believe. Astrologically speaking, that's the star that governs orgasm and the ability to divide by 12 and your propensity for quilt making. Because I read those books. See what I mean about this story being a little sketchy? Why is Beetlejuice in the model? Why is he eating bugs? I have no idea. They did test screenings of this movie. That's where they show it to audiences and they have them fill out these little scorecards. And when they showed the movie without the music, people hated it. And then they showed it with the music and people loved it. So I imagine that was a good day for Danny Elfman, who does the music for all of Tim Burton's movies. But then, according to Tim Burton, somebody at the studio said the music was too dark, which was weird because usually those guys live and breathe by those test screenings, anything those audiences say. And then they said they wanted to call it House Ghosts instead of Beetlejuice because Beetlejuice didn't test as a name. So Tim Burton says, why don't you just call it Scared Sheetless? And they actually considered it. They thought, yeah, maybe we will. And he threatened to jump out the window, you know, so they, all right, let's wrap it up here. The exciting, if confusing finale to Scared Sheetless, I mean Beetlejuice. So roll it. TNT occasionally does test screenings of this show, you know. They'll get 4 or 5 people in a room, and if one guy doesn't like my shoes or something, it's like hasta la vista to those babies, you know. Anything that, you know why I never wear bolo ties anymore? This gal in Metuchen, New Jersey said she didn't care for them, so wham, all new accessories.
More in a moment with Joe Bob's Monstervision and Beetlejuice after these messages.
Dead football team Calypso, my favorite part of the movie. That part at the end where Michael Keaton gets his head shrunk was added at the last minute because the afterlife waiting room scenes were such a hit at the test screening. So Tim Burton sold out on that one. Good movie, though. Okay, next week we're showing Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, the penultimate film in the Planet of the Apes series. Do you like that, penultimate? Couldn't wait to say that. By the way, guess who's directing the remake of Planet of the Apes? Tim Burton. And $10 says his buxom girlfriend Lisa Marie plays Nova, the girl in the cage. Remember her? That's it for me, Joe Bob Briggs, reminding you, when the blind leadeth the blind, get out of the way. Did you guys hear this one? A pair of Irish ditch diggers are repairing some roadside damage across the street from a house of ill repute. And they see this Protestant reverend lurking about and then ducking into the house. And so Pat the ditch digger says, would you look at that, Darby? What a shameful disgrace. Those Protestant reverends sinning in a house the likes of that place. And they both shake their heads in disgust and they continue working. A little while later, they see a Jewish rabbi look around cautiously and then he darts into the house. And Pat says, did you see that, Darby? Is nothing holy to these Jewish people. I just can't understand what the world is coming to these days. Man of the cloth indulging himself in sins of the flesh. 'Tis a shame, I tell you. Soon they see this third man, a Catholic priest, lurking around the house, see if anybody's watching, and then he sneaks in at the door. And Pat removes his cap and he says, oh no, Darby, look, one of the poor girls must have died. Joe Bob Briggs reminding you that the drive-in will never die. Did you hear about the man who was hurt when he fell into a reupholstering machine? He's totally recovered.